Howdy hi-ho. Here I review movies, and today's film is The First Omen. It's a horror film about Margaret, a young American, heading to Italy to join a convent there. After arriving, she uncovers a dark and mysterious plot that threatens the fate of the world. Ben Jacoby wrote the story, and then Keith Thomas, Arkasha Stevenson, and Tim Smith turned it into a screenplay. Arkasha Stevenson then directed the film, which stars Nell Tiger Free as Margaret, Ralph Ineson as Father Brennan, and Bill Nighy as Cardinal Lawrence. Charles Dance also briefly appears as Father Harris. To begin, this film is well produced across the board. The visuals, the soundtrack, and the cast are working in tandem to try and make this film as enjoyable as possible. The general cast, for instance, are playing out a bunch of fairly normal nuns and priests for the start of the film. They make the setting feel a bit odd, but otherwise ordinary. Then on a dime, the whole convent flips and it's like everyone loses their minds. There's madness everywhere, and we get to see a bunch of great little performances in which the sisters seem possessed. Then there are the leads and the supporting cast who are playing innocent church members trying to figure out what's going on, and secret cult members trying to enact an evil plan. There are good fear reactions from Dance, Innocent, and Free, and a lot of great possession demonic moments from Ishtar Curry Wilson as Sister Angelica. Innocent gets to play a passionate but almost mad-sounding priest and nails it. Toward the end of the movie, they let Nell Tiger Free cut loose from her boring character and play out some gruesome scenes too. She does a fantastic job with the fear and pain reactions, the madness moments, and playing out the emotional turmoil of the climax. I hope to see more of her in the future, hopefully with a more interesting character. For the visual journey, they found a creepy-looking old church and a few locations in a small village, and they work perfectly for the setting. They run around the church looking at all of the archaic practices and the old building style, and it creates this eerie cult-like atmosphere that helps sell the story. For big scary moments, they had a few gruesome kills, a few unnatural birth scenes, and a disgusting demon that appears every once in a while. There are also some well-done madness moments and a few disgusting moments, like when they had the ghost of the burned lady walk up and talk to Margaret and her skin is still freshly charred. The soundtrack was a mixture of scored orchestrals, eerie tension tracks, and a few original songs. The original songs set the mood in the club and during a few character introductions. They work well but don't have a big impact. The scored orchestrals follow the emotional journey and constantly introduce dark, supernatural atmospheres and eerie, dangerous feelings. They integrate a lot of corrupted-sounding choir songs into it, and they work wonderfully with the rest of the motif. The tension tracks are made up of irregular noises and ambient sounds that invoke a supernatural feeling. Like at one point they have this track that sounds like a group of women moaning, while this dreadful tone plays behind them. It rises in pitch and makes your heart pound rapidly. These tracks were incredibly impactful and used well to up the drama on a lot of the film. Having said all those nice things, the story is absolutely boring. It's predictable, the characters are all very similar in their personalities, and they don't explain anything. They also run down one of the most cliché storylines to ever come out of Catholic culture, and don't change a single thing. Even the surprise twist is so cliché at this point that my eyes rolled out of my head. It's a hard film to get into, and the only real reason to keep watching is because of the production quality. It makes you feel like they're just about to do something really cool if you just wait a little bit longer. They never do, and the story just plays out really slowly without really building up any of the characters or explaining the cult in any kind of detail. They also end it with a cliffhanger, which seems bonkers unless the next movie is a modern Van Helsing or Hellblazer. The film also massively underutilized a couple of amazing older actors. They had Bill Nighy and Charles Dance in here, and together they got a combined 4 minutes of screen time. It's actually insane that they didn't use these two more. I guess they just didn't have the money? Personally, I struggled to make it through this film. It felt very similar to that Immaculate movie that I watched earlier this year, and they didn't do a good job of drawing you in. The characters are all bland, goody two-shoes, and repeat the dogma type characters, and the horror wasn't good enough to make up for it. They barely show the demon, and the two demonic birth scenes just seemed a little over the top to me. In conclusion, the film is well produced, but the story is boring. All the fluff in the world couldn't change that. As for a rating, I'd give this film a 6 out of 10 for the quality alone, but wouldn't recommend it because of the subject matter. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye-bye.